There are moments in life when we pray, we believe, we stand in faith, and yet nothing seems to be changing. The situation remains the same. The challenge is still there, and the door will be knocking on stays shut. It's easy in those times to feel discouraged, to wonder if our prayers are even being heard. But just because you don't see anything happening doesn't mean God isn't working. Just because your answer hasn't come yet doesn't mean it's not on the way. Delay is not denial. What you've been praying for, what you've been standing in faith for, is still in motion, still making its way to you. So often, when things don't happen in our timing, we start to get weary. We think maybe it's just not meant to be. Maybe this is as good as it gets. But you have to remember, just because the answer hasn't arrived yet doesn't mean it's not coming. When you pray, when you believe, things are shifting behind the scenes. You may not see it, you may not feel it, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. Some blessings take time. Some breakthroughs require patience. What God has prepared for you is too great to be rushed, too important to be given before the time is right. Think about Joseph in the Bible. He had a dream that one day he would be a great leader, that he would rise to a position of influence and authority. But after that dream, his life went in the opposite direction. He was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused and put in prison. Years went by and nothing changed. But what Joseph didn't know was that even in those difficult moments, his prayers were working. Even in the silence, God was moving. The delay wasn't a denial, it was preparation. If Joseph had been promoted too soon, he wouldn't have been ready. If he had stepped into his destiny before the right time, he wouldn't have had the wisdom, the strength, the maturity to handle it. That's how it is in our own lives. You may be praying for a promotion, for a healing, for a breakthrough in your family, and it feels like nothing is happening. But the delay is not a denial. Every day you wait, every day you trust is another day you are being prepared for the promise. The waiting season is not wasted time, it's strengthening time. It's building your faith, your character, your endurance. Some of you have been standing in faith for years, praying for that one thing to come to pass. You've been believing, staying faithful, and yet the door hasn't opened. But I want to encourage you today, don't give up now. You are closer than you think. The answer is already on the way. The right people, the right opportunity, the right breakthrough, it's already been lined up for you. Keep praying. Keep believing. Keep speaking faith over your situation. The delay is not a no, it's a not yet. What's meant for you is too important to be given at the wrong time. When the moment is right, the doors will swing open, the opportunity will show up, and everything will fall into place. What you've been waiting for will come to pass, and it will be better than you ever imagined. So don't grow weary. Don't let the waiting make you doubt. Hold on, stay in faith, and keep praying until it happens. Because when the time is right, nothing will be able to stop it. Keep trusting, keep believing, because your answer is on the way. There are times in life when we pray for something, we believe for a breakthrough, and yet nothing seems to change. The situation stays the same, the report doesn't improve, the opportunity doesn't show up. It's in these moments that doubt tries to creep in. Thoughts whisper, maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe this is as far as you'll go. But just because you don't see anything happening doesn't mean that nothing is happening. Behind the scenes, things are shifting. God is working in ways you can't see, aligning the right people, setting up the right opportunities, preparing the right moment. One of the biggest mistakes we can make is giving up too soon. We stop praying, we stop believing, and we walk away from what could have been our breakthrough. But what if the answer was just around the corner? What if the moment you've been waiting for was only one prayer away? That's why you have to keep praying until it happens. You don't stop just because it's taking longer than expected. You don't quit just because the situation looks impossible. You keep standing, you keep believing, because the promise is still coming. In the book of Daniel, there's a story about how he prayed for 21 days for an answer. He didn't hear anything, didn't see anything change, but he kept praying. On the 21st day, an angel appeared and said, "From the moment you prayed, I was sent with the answer, but there was opposition in the spiritual realm. The enemy tried to delay it, but the answer was already on the way." The moment you pray, something is set into motion. The healing, the breakthrough, the opportunity, it's already been released. The opposition may try to hold it up, but it can't stop what God has ordained. If Daniel had stopped praying on day 10 or even day 20, he would have missed what was already on the way. Maybe right now you feel like you're on day 20. You've been believing for a long time, and nothing seems to be changing. But you don't know this could be your day 21. The answer could be closer than you think. The breakthrough could be just one prayer away. Don't let discouragement talk you out of your promise. Keep praying. Keep standing. Keep expecting. The enemy's greatest tactic is to get you to quit before the breakthrough comes. He knows that if he can make you discouraged, if he can make you doubt, you'll stop praying and walk away from what was already yours. That's why you have to be relentless. You have to have a made-up mind. I'm going to keep praying. I'm going to keep believing. I'm going to keep speaking faith until it happens. There was a woman in the Bible who had been sick for 12 years. She had gone to doctors, tried different treatments, but nothing worked. She could have given up. She could have accepted that this was how her life would always be. But she had a different mindset. She kept pressing forward, kept believing that healing was possible. One day she heard that Jesus was passing by. Instead of staying home, instead of giving in to doubt, she said, "If I can just touch the hem of his garment, I will be healed." She pushed through the crowd. She fought through the opposition. And the moment she touched him, she was instantly healed. What if she had given up after 11 years? What if she had stopped believing after her last doctor visit? She would have missed her miracle. Your answer could be right in front of you, but you have to keep pressing. You have to keep believing. You may be closer than you realize. Don't let the waiting make you doubt. Don't let the silence make you give up. What you've been praying for, what you've been standing in faith for, it's on the way. Keep praying until it happens, because when the time is right, nothing will be able to stop it. The answer is already in motion. Stay in faith, stay expectant, and you will see it come to pass. There are times in life when you pray and nothing seems to change. You do the right thing, you stay in faith, you keep believing, but the situation stays the same. You're asking for healing, but the medical report still doesn't look good. You're praying for that opportunity, but the doors aren't opening. You're believing for restoration, but nothing is improving. It's easy to get discouraged, easy to think, maybe it's not meant to be. Maybe I should just accept it and move on. But what you can't see is that behind the scenes, things are shifting. The moment you prayed, God set things into motion. He released healing, He released favor, He released the opportunity. Just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean it's not on the way. In the book of Daniel, we read about how he prayed and fasted for 21 days. Every day he prayed, and every day nothing happened. But what Daniel didn't know was that the moment he prayed, God sent an angel with the answer. But on the way, there was opposition in the spiritual realm. The enemy tried to delay it, tried to block it. But the answer was already on the way. On the 21st day, the angel finally broke through and delivered what Daniel had been waiting for. What if Daniel had given up on day 10? What if he had stopped believing on day 20? He would have walked away from something that was already his. Sometimes the delay isn't a denial. It's not that your prayer isn't answered. It's that there's opposition trying to hold it up. That's why you have to be persistent. You have to keep praying, keep believing, keep expecting, because you don't know you could be on day 21. The breakthrough could be right around the corner. The healing, the promotion, the opportunity could be on the way. But if you stop now, you may never see it come to pass. So often people quit too soon. They let the silence convince them that nothing is happening. They let the delay talk them out of their faith. They think it's been too long. It should have happened by now. But time is not an indication of whether or not God is working. Just because it's taking longer than you expected doesn't mean it's not coming. Some blessings take time. Some breakthroughs require perseverance. Some miracles are on a schedule that you can't see. There was a woman in the Bible who came to a judge pleading for justice. The judge ignored her, dismissed her, told her no. But she wouldn't give up. She kept coming back, kept knocking, kept pleading. Finally, the judge said, I don't care about this woman, but because she won't stop asking, I'm going to give her what she wants just so she'll leave me alone. If an unfair judge would answer someone just because of persistence, how much more will God answer you when you keep praying, keep believing, and keep standing in faith? Some things won't come the first time you ask. Some doors won't open on the first knock. Some battles require you to stand your ground, refuse to be discouraged, refuse to give up. That's why you have to keep praying until it happens. Don't let the delay convince you to walk away. Don't let the silence make you think nothing is happening. What you've been believing for is already in motion. The right people, the right opportunities, the right moments, they're all being aligned. It may not happen on your timetable, but it will happen at the right time. So don't stop now. Don't let frustration make you give up. Your healing is coming. Your breakthrough is on the way. Your answer is closer than you think. Keep praying until it happens, because when the time is right, nothing will be able to stop it. Stay in faith, stay encouraged, and you will see it come to pass. There are moments in life when you pray, and it feels like nothing is changing. You ask, you believe, you stand in faith, but the situation remains the same. You keep declaring healing, but the sickness doesn't improve. You keep asking for restoration, but the relationship remains broken. You keep trusting for a breakthrough, but every door seems locked. It's easy to grow weary, easy to think maybe it's not meant to be. Maybe I should just accept things the way they are. But what you have to realize is that delay is not denial. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean that nothing is happening. The moment you prayed, things shifted in the unseen realm. What you've been believing for has already been set in motion. Sometimes the greatest tests of faith come in the waiting period. It's in those moments of silence when you have to decide, will you give up or will you keep pressing forward? Will you let the delay discourage you, or will you dig in your heels and say, I'm not quitting. I'm not backing down. I know what I've prayed for, and I'm going to keep standing until I see it come to pass. That's the kind of faith that brings results, not wishful thinking, not praying once and then giving up, but persistent, unwavering faith that refuses to take no for an answer. There's a story in the Bible about Elijah during a time of drought. For years there had been no rain, and everything was drying up. People had lost hope. But Elijah knew what God had promised. He climbed to the top of a mountain, got on his knees, and prayed for rain. After he prayed, he sent his servant to check the sky. The servant came back and said, there's nothing there. Elijah didn't say, well, I guess it's not going to happen. No, he sent the servant back again. Still nothing. A third time, nothing. A fourth, a fifth, a sixth, still no sign of rain. But Elijah didn't quit. He knew what had been spoken. He knew the promise was coming. On the seventh time, the servant came back and said, I see a cloud the size of a man's hand. That small cloud was all Elijah needed. He said, get ready, the rain is coming. Moments later, the sky turned black. The wind shifted, and a great downpour covered the land. What if Elijah had stopped praying after the first time? What if he had given up after the third or fourth time? The rain was already on the way. He just had to keep pressing forward. Some of you are on the verge of your breakthrough. You've been praying, you've been believing, but you're getting discouraged because you don't see any sign of change. But what if you're just one prayer away from seeing the cloud? What if you're just one act of faith away from stepping into the miracle? Now is not the time to quit. Now is the time to press in like never before. Keep praying until it happens. It may take longer than you expected, but that doesn't mean it's not coming. Some blessings take time to prepare. Some breakthroughs require perseverance. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. That door you've been knocking on, it's about to open. That healing you've been believing for, it's closer than you think. That opportunity, that breakthrough, that shift, it's already been released. Your job is to keep standing in faith. Keep praying until it happens, because when the time is right, nothing will be able to stop it. Keep pressing forward, keep believing, and you will see it come to pass. It's easy to pray once, twice, maybe even a few times, and then get discouraged when nothing seems to be changing. You start to wonder, is this even working? Is anyone listening? Maybe it's just not meant to be. But the truth is, just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean your prayers aren't making an impact. Every time you pray, you are putting pressure on the situation, shifting things in the unseen realm, and setting things in motion that you can't even comprehend. Too often people stop right before their breakthrough. They pray for healing, but when the symptoms persist, they give up. They pray for a promotion, but when they get passed over, they assume it's not for them. They pray for a relationship to be restored, but when things don't improve right away, they let go of hope. What they don't realize is that the answer may be just around the corner. The healing could be one more prayer away. The promotion could be on its way, but they need to hold on a little longer. The restoration may already be in progress, but they need to keep believing. Imagine a person digging for gold. They've been at it for weeks, swinging their pickaxe, removing dirt and rocks, sweating and putting in the work. But after a while, they grow tired. They tell themselves, I've tried everything. I've given it my best. Maybe there's nothing here. They walk away, leaving the gold buried just a few inches away. Had they just swung the pickaxe one more time, they would have struck gold. That's how many people live their lives. They pray, they work, they believe. But when things don't happen on their timeline, they walk away. You may be closer than you think. Your dream may be just one more prayer away. That breakthrough may be right around the corner. You can't afford to quit now. Keep praying until it happens. Keep declaring victory. Keep speaking life over your situation. Keep trusting that even when you don't see anything happening, something is moving in your favor. There's a story in the Bible about a woman who had been sick for 12 years. She had spent all her money on doctors, tried every treatment and exhausted resource, but nothing worked. She could have easily given up and accepted that she would always be sick. But she heard about a man named Jesus, and something in her spirit told her, if I can just touch the hem of his robe, I'll be healed. She pushed through the crowd, reached out her hand, and the moment she touched him, she was completely restored. Notice she didn't wait for someone to pray for her. She didn't sit back and hope something would change. She took action. She pushed through her doubt, her exhaustion, her discouragement, and she reached out in faith. Some of us need that same determination. Instead of sitting back and waiting, we need to push forward. Keep praying. Keep believing. Keep reaching for what's yours. You may feel tired, but you are too close to stop now. You've put in the work. You've stayed faithful. You've stood firm despite the delays. Don't walk away when you're inches away from your breakthrough. The answer is closer than you think. Keep pressing forward, keep praying until it happens, and soon you'll look back and see that it was all worth it. Keep the faith, stay the course, and watch as everything falls into place in your favor. It's easy to get discouraged when you've been praying for something and nothing seems to be happening. You start to wonder, is it even worth it? Am I just wasting my time? But what if I told you that every prayer you've prayed, every tear you've shed, every moment you've spent believing, none of it has been wasted? What if I told you that behind the scenes things have been shifting, moving, aligning in ways that you can't even see? Just because you don't have the answer yet doesn't mean it's not on its way. Just because the door hasn't opened yet doesn't mean it's locked forever. Too often people stop praying because they don't see immediate results. They pray for a few days, a few weeks, maybe even a few months, and when nothing changes, they assume it's not meant to be. But the truth is, some prayers take time. Some breakthroughs require persistence. Some doors will only open if you refuse to stop knocking. You can't just pray once and expect everything to shift overnight. You have to pray until it happens. You have to keep pressing forward, keep standing in faith. Keep declaring victory even when everything around you is telling you to give up. Think about a farmer planting seeds. He doesn't plant them one day and then come back the next expecting a full harvest. He knows that growth takes time. He knows that just because he doesn't see anything happening on the surface doesn't mean the seed isn't taking root. Some of you have been planting seeds with your prayers. You've been watering them with your faith. But because you don't see immediate results, you're tempted to stop. Let me remind you, just because you don't see anything doesn't mean nothing is happening. Underneath the soil, the roots are growing. The foundation is being laid. The moment you stop praying, you stop the process. You have to make up your mind that you're going to keep praying, keep believing, keep standing firm, no matter how long it takes. Maybe you're believing for healing, but the symptoms haven't changed. Maybe you're praying for restoration in your family, but things still seem broken. Maybe you're asking for direction, but you still feel lost. Don't let the delay discourage you. What you're believing for may be closer than you think. That breakthrough, that opportunity, that answered prayer may be just around the corner, but you have to stay the course. There's a story in the Bible about a woman who kept coming to a judge, asking him to grant her justice. Day after day, she came knocking on his door. At first, he ignored her. He dismissed her, acted like she didn't matter. But she refused to give up. She kept coming, kept asking, kept pressing forward. Finally, the judge said, I'm going to give her what she wants, not because I care, but because she won't stop asking. If an unjust judge can be moved by persistence, how much more will the right doors open when you stay consistent in your faith? You may be tired. You may feel like nothing is changing. But keep knocking, keep asking. Keep believing. You don't know when your moment is coming. You don't know when that door is going to swing wide open. It may take longer than you expected. It may not happen the way you thought it would. But if you stay the course, if you refuse to give up, if you keep praying until it happens, you will see the victory. You will walk into the promise. You will see the impossible become possible. Don't stop now. You're closer than you think. Keep praying, keep believing, and watch as everything begins to fall into place in your favor.